I have one very simple question. Why does it seem like a lot of Linux users just like to make their life worse? And I don't mean computing on e-waste when you have the means to get something better. I don't mean refusing to use a GUI in places where it is simply more efficient and a better user experience. And I don't mean running CPUs without CPU microcode updates, leaving your system with these giant gaping vulnerabilities. All of these are valid concerns as well, and absolutely worth talking about. What I want to talk about instead, though, is why are there people who just want to make it easier to break their system? I first noticed this all the way back during the LTT Linux challenge, where Linus tried to install a package on Pop! OS, and due to some funky dependency issues they had at the time, this led to some package downgrades being done, and this led to some more package downgrades being done, and this cascaded out to basically deleting his entire desktop. Now, it did ask him to confirm the package removal before it actually removed everything. The problem is it was in this giant wall of white text, and as someone who was just getting used to desktop Linux, he didn't read everything and accepted it, and then ended up leaving Pop! OS. And I'm happy that happened to Linus because it got the problem actually fixed. He is not the only person who suffered from it, but until it got all of that attention, it was basically just being ignored. But there were people in the comment section of that video basically saying, skill issue, Linus should have just read the text. No Linux user would ever have this problem happen. This is a Linus problem, but it's not. It was an actual problem with Pop! OS that sure, you could work around, but you shouldn't have to. It should just work. And a lot more recently, in my PEP 668 video, a very simple and very sane default change that distros are choosing to adopt, where it locks out pip by default from doing global package installations, instead requiring the user to make use of a Python virtual environment, a tool that is typically used for Python development that splits out the dependencies for a project from the dependencies of the rest of your system. This ensures that pip doesn't try to compete with your system package manager like apt, pacman, DNF, and things like that for ownership of global packages. As someone who has had to deal with manual intervention because of something I installed with pip, to me, and a lot of people in the comment section it seems, this is just a universally good change. It makes it completely impossible for when you install a package with pip for it to break any of your system packages. Remember, this is just the default. If you don't like it, you can go and disable it. But I saw a few people arguing against it, not because of the increased storage space used, which is fair because you are going to be repeating dependencies, not because of the possibility of more vulnerabilities, because you're going to have different versions of different Python libraries, also totally fair, but instead, because they never broke their system, just pay attention to what you're doing and nothing will ever go wrong. Okay, that makes sense. The whole RTFM, skill issue, whatever term you want to use, I get it, but let's apply that logic to 3 other basic safety precautions we have on Linux. Let's start with sudo rm-rf your root. We've all seen the memes, maybe you've even tried to run the command yourself. We all know exactly what this command is going to do. This command is going to nuke your entire system. Or at least, that's what you think it does, because that's not been the case for a really, really long time. Years ago, RM had its default behavior changed to deal with specifically this problem. It said so in the man page. By default, it has --preserve-root. Do not remove /. This is the default behavior. Because you don't want to delete your root. In 99.9999 so on and so forth % of cases, if you run that command, were not intending to do so. There are almost 0 circumstances where that is the command you actually want to run. So having that be possible with the default behavior should not be the case because of just simply how destructive it is. Instead, on that very rare occasion where you actually mean to run that command, like you're trying to make my outro, for example, or maybe you legitimately want to do some destructive behavior on your root. In that case, --no-preserve-root. Do not treat root specially. This is a very sane behavior. This is the way RM should work, and I don't think anybody would really argue against this. But clearly, this is an attack on your freedom, and you should be able to just destroy your system with a slightly wrong command. Or how about the hold package functionality of Pacman? I'm sure other package managers have a similar system, but I know Pacman. On Arch Linux, we have Pacman and glibc listed. On Manjaro, I believe this also lists out Manjaro-system. But what does it do? It doesn't hold an update, instead, it holds the package upon trying to remove it. If a user tries to -- remove a package that's listed in hold package, Pacman will ask for a confirmation before proceeding. Basically, it's an extra level of protection if you try to remove Pacman or glibc, or in the case of Manjaro, Manjaro-system, because these are absolutely core fundamental pieces of your system. If you try to remove them, it is almost certainly a mistake. But there are certainly cases where you may want to do so. Say you want to install a custom version of glibc, or you're testing out a Git version of Pacman, or writing patches for Pacman and want to use the Arch build system. In these cases, yeah, totally makes sense why you might want to remove them. But for me, as a regular user who is not doing that, if I try to uninstall something and it has Pacman as a dependency for some reason, I don't want that to try to remove Pacman. Like, that's not something I want to do. That is not something I want to try to recover my system from. Clearly, this is Arch trying to take away my freedom. Why should I need to confirm wanting to brick my system? Let me just brick my system. Or how about the whole concept of a separate root user and user account, and then modern distros like Fedora and Ubuntu, which simply don't let you log into the root user? Why should you even bother with doing this? Just don't get your account compromised, and don't let anybody else use the computer. And if it is intended for other people to use, just always trust that everybody being on the same root account is just a good faith actor and is never going to try to do anything malicious. Don't stop me from running commands in the easiest way possible. I want to always be able to break my system. And in the case of Python and PEP 668, you are free to keep doing things in the old terrible way. You can pass in --break -system -packages, and it runs like the old behavior. You can just install anything anywhere you want. Or you can even go and delete the warning file from /user/lib/python.3.11/externally managed, and now the behavior is simply disabled. But much like for the earlier cases, in almost every situation, you don't want to install a package globally. You just want to install the package and ensure that it works. And a Python virtual environment is the better way to do that. And for whatever reason, if you need to do things globally, you can disable it in that case, but it should not be the default behavior. Right now, people are still getting used to the change, but give it a year, 2 years, and it's going to lead to a massive reduction of people reporting that pip broke their system. There's always an interesting balancing act between safety and convenience. You can make something extremely safe, but it's going to take 20 minutes to get anything done. Or you can make everything really convenient, and then pressing the wrong key causes your entire system to explode. There is a balancing act that needs to be managed there, and I think hiding the damaging edge cases behind an option is totally fine. But what do you guys think? Do you think you should better break your system by just breathing on it wrong, or do you think I have a point here? Let me know. If you liked the video, go like the video. And if you really liked the video and you want to become one of these amazing people over here, check out the Patreon, Scribe, Silly Bear Pay linked in the description down below. That's gonna be it for me, and
something like this.